Welcome to the Grandma Next Door. You're listening to my mommy and daddy.
And now our feature presentation.
Hi pups and kittens. Welcome to episode 43 of the Groomer Next Door. I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me as always is the fabulous Sarah.
Hello.
Well, as you may have noticed, we actually weren't around last week. The funny part is we actually were around last week. We did the episode, but... Twice. But the unfortunate side is the second episode vanished. So it's odd. As you can probably tell with all the audible sounds behind me, we are recording again from Studio MCD.
Yeah.
It's too hot to be recording from our studio, so...
It's too hot and there's too many bugs, and honestly, the cicadas are so dang loud, it would probably overpower us even more than being in here with everybody around.
Yeah, so bear with us, everybody. Okay, so we have a lot to cover this week. Kind of like covering a portion of last week, and then, of course, going into our large surplus of 43. Now, we won't mention the numbers that are on the other numbers, the 4 and the 2. We won't mention that number because I'm afraid it's jinxed to us. And we have a new segment this week that we will air each week. So, I guess, well, that's not ours. I promise you, that's not ours. So, get cozy in your pet beds and sit back and we will tell you a story. Alright, well, like I mentioned, we actually recorded last week. I know some people might wonder, did we go away? Are we gone? Are we done?
No, not at all.
Yeah, are we scared off? No, none of the above. Actually, probably more than anything else, we're more encouraged now than ever before.
Right.
So, I'll give you kind of a small thing, and I'll let you take over afterwards. We were recording right here at this very table last Monday. And, we had recorded 42. I shouldn't have said the number out loud. We had recorded the actual episode last week. But I didn't like how it sounded, so I decided to pull it, re-record it, and that's where the problem started. So, we were driving home on Monday night when, go ahead and tell the story.
So I'm driving along down, 72 on our way home. And...
which is just a small little street, but it connects Rolla to Salem. But
right.
we're still in Rolla when we're driving.
So we're heading down, and all of a sudden I see this black thing moving on the side of the road. I swerved to miss it because
that wasn't the side of the road. That was almost in the road. It was in the road.
And knowing me, when it comes to animals and roads, I made an abrupt right-hand turn into a parking lot.
Well, first you swerved into the second lane. Luckily, no car, and avoided this little black, what looked to be a rock from my angle.
Well, for me, it kind of looked like some kind of weird animal. I didn't think it was anything domestic.
Can you imagine if that was a skunk?
I was like, I'm not going to hit anything. I brake for squirrels. That's how much I could say my animal love goes deep. I brake for squirrels.
That should be a rock song. I believe. Yeah, that could be a band name. I brake for squirrels.
I stopped for turtles. And so...
how many turtles are on the road on the way to work during the summer?
Oh, it's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, we're in a landlocked state, and there's turtles. It's weird. Anyway,
it is.
I make a real quick right-hand turn into the parking lot, and...
that was more of...
I was like, it's a kitten. It's a kitten. I'm yelling at Chris, it's a kitten.
We drifted a little bit.
Our daughter, was like, whoa, Mommy, what are you doing?
You literally heard tire tracks, and the car didn't even come to a complete stop, and I'm out of the car.
Yeah, and he goes and runs, and you got to be careful, because if you go towards the kitten, or we finally figured out it was a kitten, they can dart into the street and smush right in front of our eyes.
And there were cars at full speed. This was not just, no traffic. There wasn't like there wasn't anybody on the road. There was lots of cars on the road at that time.
So as he waits for the cars to go by, the kitten wasn't in the middle of the street. He waits for a car to go by and kind of jumps in front of the kitten, makes it jump backwards a few feet. And it was actually kind of funny. Every few feet, you had to bend down to pick it up and to jump back. So you stood up, walked a couple steps, tried to pick it up, cat jumped back. You
Well,
walked
it
a
would
couple steps.
actually it didn't really know how to react. So it was kind of hissing and it was clawing at me and it was flipping on its back and then getting to its front paws and running a little bit, and I tried to reach down and get it, flip right back and hiss at me and start swatting at me. I mean, it was legitimately going after me.
And at this point in time, you don't know what's wrong with the kitten. You don't know if it's got rabies. You don't know if it's diseased somehow. And, so we take it home, quarantine it from our other pets.
Well, I finally caught the kitten.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, folks, when you have a little kitten, you can't grab it by its scruff. There is no scruff to grab, really.
Well, especially this one was dehydrated.
Yeah.
So since it was so dehydrated, it was just sunken in. Come to find out, once we got home to take a look, the one eye was completely swollen shut, or crusted shut. The other eye was opened a little bit, but still pretty crusted shut. We got a hold of Kim, and she said to put Neosporin on the crust part, wash it with warm water and a rag, and then put a little Neosporin on it.
And sorry, I don't mean to stop you. For any of you who don't know who Kim is part of PCAWL, and she is the cat expert. She knows everything that there is to know about cats.
I knew the first thing we needed to do is get a hold of her.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody knows anything, I mean, you go to her before you would even go to Google, which is, the truth. I mean, she knows everything that there is about cats.
So we put the Neosporin on, and within just a matter of just a few minutes, it ate through all that crust and finally got the eye open. Green goo coming from the eye, hair missing from its feet, and some from his tail. Belly super bloated, hasn't eaten. So it was pretty late. We had to get to bed because we had to go to work.
Well, it was already Monday night, and we weren't off last Monday.
It was like 9 o'clock at night,
yeah.
too. It was pretty late because we took longer to record than usual. So we had a can of tuna. She said just puree the heck out of it. Smash it up, tear it up, smush it together. And sure enough, that worked, and he actually took to it. And he gobbled it up like nobody's business.
Now, if you actually are paying attention to album art, if you're on YouTube, you're seeing the album art for this week. In the cat signal of the album art, and I kind of referenced a little Batman to this, the picture of the cat is in the cat symbol, or signal, sorry. It's hard to actually say cat signal. Wow.
So then, luckily, Kim came back to our house the next day to pick the kitten up, to take it to the vet.
That morning.
Yeah, the next morning. She brought it over to our work and said, you had to pick up one of the most sickest cats out there. I was like, oh no, what's wrong? Dual eye infection.
Upper
worms,
respiratory
infection.
Well, ringworms.
And ringworm.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, lovely. That means this kitten has to be quarantined forever.
Yeah.
She gave me a bunch of medicine for him, eye drops and such. And then we went out to Walmart that day that she dropped the kitten back off from seeing the vet and got what was it called? Lotrimin?
Yeah, Lotrimin for antifungal.
Yeah, antifungal cream.
We
Somebody donated a bottle of antifungal shampoo to Shadowwood just in case another dog needed it. I was like, well, they donated it, I'm going to use it. This is going to a good cause. So we had to wash the cat every other day.
Which that was the very first time was Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. I actually gave a kitten a bath.
Right.
Which was very odd to do.
Yeah, that you actually were able to bathe a kitten before I was.
Yeah. With antifungal shampoo, and it took to it with no problem. I mean, there are some dogs that don't take to a bath and water as good as this cat did.
Yeah, it was,
good sign.
It was kind of nice. I was able just to wash it with one hand or some nice warm water. So we're still fighting the ringworm. I'm pretty sure the upper respiratory problem is done with, but I still have probably another 3 or 4 days of medicine to give. It's twice a day. The eye drops are 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And the Lotrimin's about 2 to 3 times a day. So we're constantly, and then it's feeding time like 3 or 4 times a day.
So on top of everything, we're actually not only, nursing this cat back to health, we're also the foster parents of this cat.
Right.
And this cat will go up for adoption, but it's nowhere near that time. It's a long time away.
Needs to get. Kim said this kitten will be fixed at 12 weeks old, and then it takes another 10 days for them to heal. So they said the kitten was about 4 weeks old.
So we got 8 weeks until then.
Yeah, we got 2 months at least, and then however long it takes to adopt out.
I'm going to guess this cat won't be available, and this is hypothetical. I would say probably right around Christmas, maybe New Year.
Well,
Look at where we're at.
September.
Yeah, we're already in September, so that's, December,
So
which is crazy.
Once we got the kitten, there's actually canned kitten food, which is amazing.
Right.
I also got
Fancy Feast, I think.
Fancy Feast kitten.
Yeah.
Now, most of the time, 4-week-old kittens still need a nurse from the mom. We got lucky here because this kitten can actually digest regular food.
I think it's had to learn to kind of survive. Now, the one thing that was really hard for me was this cat had a look in its eyes that, you couldn't really see in the eyes, but you could tell in the face and the personality. It thought it was going to die. It was scared to death.
It was stumbling everywhere.
But it knew something's wrong. I'm in a bad spot. I'm in trouble. And then it thought I was probably a predator. That's why it reacted
because
the
it
way it
couldn't
did.
see.
Yep.
And we looked around. We couldn't find any other kittens.
Yeah, we
couldn't find a
investigated
mama
that.
kitten or a cat. We couldn't find anything. There was no colony or anything to go look at.
Yeah, we actually thought that there was an
We
actual...
went back the next day to look.
Yeah, we actually really did a lot of looking around.
We actually found him right next to the cemetery.
Yeah.
I guess we should have called him Boo.
You wanted to call him Boo Kitty. That was original. That was originally.
Well, we came up with the name Rambo.
Yep.
Now, there's a reason for Rambo. He is...
Rambunctious.
He is very tenacious. He is everywhere when we let him out. We might be running a little bit of risk of contamination with the ringworm, but I just don't have it in my heart to keep a kitten in a box or in a crate.
You feel like you're imprisoning this animal instead
because it's
of...
supposed to be like weeks.
Yeah.
Weeks that they're supposed to be,
Quarantined.
And I hate it. I don't let the dogs or cats get close.
Right.
I don't let them touch.
And we scrub up after, and so does Claire. So
Mop the floors
Yep.
and such, and wash hands, and oh my gosh,
But
we're going through a lot of soap.
look at in Google, when you Google it, kids can actually go to school and come home with ringworms. It's not uncommon. Odd, right?
What's that fungus stuff?
Athlete's foot.
Athlete's foot is another type of ringworm.
Well, let me tell you, playing in sports, you're always naked, I guess you could say.
Well, it thrives in moist, damp places.
And locker rooms are very moist and damp.
Rooms hardly ever get disinfected each day.
I don't think they ever do. Whether you're in school or the only time that you actually will ever see it is when it's actual professional level.
Yeah.
Even KHS, that was not.
Yeah.
That wasn't. It was. Oh my gosh.
But he climbs. He jumps from place to place. He swats. Doesn't know how to use the litter box just yet. Eats like a beast.
Oh my gosh, he goes in beast mode.
We had a little bit of a scare with him. We had him for 3 days and he didn't go poo.
No longer. We had him Monday
4?
night and he didn't poop until Friday.
Yeah, he didn't get to relieve himself until Friday. But I was scared. So I'm asking everybody, I'm doing research online on what to do. Come to find out, you just take some corn syrup, and I just gave him like 0.2 milliliters of corn syrup in a syringe. And within 15 minutes, he went.
Now, of course, folks, when we say syringe, that's not with a needle.
No, this is a oral syringe.
Yes.
So, but that's our little kitten. We're going to keep on until, oops, I got to silence my phone. It's like the movies. But we will be finding him a home soon, and
we'll
can't
mention
wait.
it multiple times. We'll talk about this. the message for everybody is, go out there, and of course, we've said it before, fostering an animal is a great thing to do. It always is. But fostering a kitten or pup is a great thing to do. Doing that kind of stuff, you're helping a human being. Even though it's a four-legged, it's still human, it's still alive.
Fostering is so rewarding.
It really is. I mean, it's hard to give up the animal. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be very difficult. But
well, Katana's gotten attached to the kitten.
You've gotten attached.
Well, I've been doing everything.
Yeah. You have been really active.
When the kitten's out, Katana makes sure it doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
When it goes underneath our table, she freaks out because she can't get underneath there to get her.
That's true.
So I'm a little worried Katana's going to have a little bit of a heartbreak once the kitten leaves, especially how long we're going to have it.
Right. All right, moving on. All right, so I know you want to actually give a shout out. So there's a great Facebook page that has heard of us, and they've been very supportive. So go ahead and tell the story.
It was pretty cool. There's this Facebook page for groomers. It's Dog Groomers Rock. They post some of the funniest stuff, and some people that aren't in grooming won't understand the postings. But it's a nice place for people to go and blow off steam and such. Well, I asked them, maybe could you post our podcast so we can get some other people come in and let us know what they would change or what we should talk about or other ideas from other groomers. I've gotten all the feedback from my grooming friends. There's a lot of them.
Well, we both get a great deal of feedback. Right. There's a lot of feedback for this show, and it's all positive. I don't get a negative response. You don't get a negative response. We get all positives, and then we get private inquiries. So it is a rewarding thing.
Well, it was really nice. The administrator of the page said, "Oh, we love podcasts. Not a problem." And they shared it.
There's not many podcasts like this.
Yeah, and they shared it. It ended up blowing up. We've had people comment about it. We've had 200 and some views overnight. Yeah.
It went over that. It was just a boom all of a sudden.
It's a big thank you to you guys. I really appreciate it. And I'm a very humbled groomer. I'm not going to stick my nose up in the air and say I know everything.
But what we do talk about, either we research it or we've already dealt with it. So.
Right. So, it was pretty cool. I know they were just reaching dog groomers itself, and obviously most dog groomers already know what we have to say. Some take our stuff and make it their own. I know we went through that.
Well, we haven't, actually. That was in that other episode, but... Yeah.
But, I said we personally went through that. So, a big thank you to those guys, and like I said, I'm an avid supporter. I'm always on there looking at stuff. I mean, groomers ask simple questions. Like one person, they asked...
And we're going to cover that. We're going to cover what there was a question asked.
Yeah, well, one person asked a while back what to use instead of Quick Stop. Because Quick Stop, I guess, dumped over and they lost it all.
Oh, yes.
So I was like, well, cornstarch or flour.
And that's great for anybody at home. If you actually trim your dog or cat's nails at home, there's your answer.
I would go with flour first.
Yeah.
And then cornstarch. Cornstarch would probably be a little harder to get to stop, but flour will definitely clog it up.
Yeah.
Because the compounds in flour are meant to stick together once any kind of liquid's met.
Clumping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Clumping agent, I guess, would be the best. So, thank you to Dog Groomers Rock. That was awesome. We hope
they have awesome shirts that they release all the time.
I see it all the time too. I know it's. You just wanted to say, "Here's my credit card. Take my money."
Yeah, if they had, I'm very picky on what kind of shirts that I wear. But if they had a loose fitting tank top, that would be amazing. I would grab that right away.
Yeah.
But some of their stuff is super funny.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to almost be an actual groomer to understand most of it. I know some of my customers will understand because they had dogs for so long and they actually get to know their groomer real well to the point where they can actually start speaking the terms. I got my friend who lives in Texas now. I groomed her 2 standard poodles. The same standard poodles that I was featured in the newspaper, Rolla Daily News.
Front page.
The front page with both of them. That was back when Henry was just a puppy and Sophie was the adult. Now Sophie's got some gray hair going on, and Henry's just this big, beautiful boy.
Did I ever work with them at all? I don't think so.
You might have on a weekend blow drying them or something like that way back when.
Okay. I can't remember. Okay.
But thank you guys very much.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, if anybody's actually listening to this episode, who just heard of us from, the Groomers Rock, send us messages. I personally love I get a lot of Facebook messages. People will just, I'll post something down and get a response back by Facebook message. So yeah, get in touch with us. We love to hear from other groomers. I personally talk to a groomer all the time, and I see his work, and he's in Bogota, Colombia. So it's actually quite unique to see somebody grooming in South America and be able to look at their things. And man, he is talented.
Well, there's different designs, different patterns, different ways of doing such things.
Conceptualizing in a whole different format.
Well, yeah. Okay, going to California, they like their dogs one length, body, legs, feet.
Yeah.
Or they really, really want their breed specific patterns. When you come out here, people like fuller legs. It seems like all these dogs have skirts. Even if they're not supposed to have skirts, they have skirts. So it changes from region to region on what people like.
And it is fun to watch. And it's fun to talk to them and get all the information. So,
Son of a bitch, this place is big.
Sorry about that, folks.
Oh my gosh.
Unfortunately, you have, people see you recording, they know you're doing something. I'm pretty sure he doesn't know what a radio is, but whatever. Actually, that leads me into a really good conversation I wanted to have. Now, we had this, of course, during yesterday we were talking about this. We were talking about this before. The question of take away the explicit, no language barriers. Say what we want, cut out the... Is that a phone that I hear on speaker? That is a phone I have on speaker.
I don't know.
Holy guacamole.
The other guy is tweaked out of his mind right now.
It's a 3-day weekend.
Hardy, huh?
Hoping he's gone.
He's outside.
Good. Well, so anyways, the reason why I actually don't remove the explicit, why I don't just flow. Folks, I'm not exactly the type of person that doesn't curse. I like to curse. It is in my vocabulary. But there's a good reason why we don't curse on this podcast.
Well, I typically don't.
You don't. You're not a
even
cursing
on my
person.
Facebook page, I really don't.
Yeah, you're not the type. I am.
mean, if I stub my foot, I'm sorry. There's going to be a word coming out.
But-
If I get bit.
Yes.
Sometimes there's a word coming out.
Pain equals foul language.
And
For
even
example,
like that,
when
it's not the F-bomb.
even at work, I'm not really, there's people that I'll be around that I will be more, open and, myself, and then there's a lot of people I'm not. But the reason why I keep it the way I do is at some point in time, this is going to be kind of captain's log-ish type thing. It's in the web forever. It's out there. Eventually, our daughter will be able to listen to these.
Right.
Maybe. I don't know. She might not. But even if she does,
Well,
she
if
gets
you go
older.
and you Google the groomer next
Oh, it's
door,
all over the place.
Our stuff is everywhere.
Yeah, pictures, which are ours, not Google taken pictures. Oh, good. Let's get louder, folks. But I keep it rated G because I don't want my daughter to one day start listening to these and say, my gosh, my dad is just crude. He says whatever he wants. I don't want to hear my dad cursing up a storm. So it was for that one reason. This is a time capsule. 50 years from now, it'll still be there. I don't know if anybody will be able to, archive this, but it'll be out there. So it's kind of today.
What's nice?
This is a trap in history.
Well, what's nice is that, people can do what they want. They can transport. They can pick up trash on the side of the road. They can do stuff that...
Or they might be transport who are trash. Who knows?
But this is a legacy that we want to leave behind.
And
where it's a staple. Where It's like, look, Claire, we have a solid heart here. We want to help. We're dedicated to this no matter how many times someone tries to kick us.
Yeah.
We're still here.
Yeah.
And we're still as strong as ever. And we don't have black hearts. Our daughter's probably at top. I see her pink shirt right now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, I guess part of things is I'm referencing back before we started recording. I think we weren't recording at this time. For our anniversary, Sarah gave me Ancestry.com membership into that. And, obviously I looked into my past and, I come from a very unique past.
I can't believe you're dropped off.
Yeah, you don't see anything past probably the late 1800s, but then I have a very interesting group of...
Well, your great-grandmother, it just drops off.
Yeah.
No record of anything.
Right when they got into the country, before that is gone. There's nothing there. Grandfather, or great-grandfather, I'm sorry, was a bootlegger, a very famous bootlegger nonetheless.
In Missouri and Kansas City and such. And
traveled all apart between Midwest and the West, or the East Coast. So it's really weird, I'm thinking to myself, eventually, I'm going to be gone. We only have so long to live here. This is a legacy that even past Claire, her children, if she has any, or anybody who wants to reference us in the future will hear this. Which I think, in some sense, this is kind of the cool thing. I know I'm off topic, but it's explaining why we don't curse. This is the opportunity to hear somebody in 2014. Who knows when they're going to listen to this, in the future. If they ever do, they ever archive it. But it's there. So it's kind of a weird thing. I know I'm on a tantrum, and I know, but it's an explanation of why I want things this way. Because
you're explaining that, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I got to trace mine back to like 1400 something.
Your family has oh yeah, mine. I
have a grandfather way back when that wasn't nice.
It's funny because when we were kids, and we're not, we're barely separated from being, kids. We're just coming into our adulthood. But, it's funny because I think whenever a child, including Claire, whenever they will do a family tree, I think a lot of kids, I know with my generation, with yours too, I think we all said to ourselves, gosh, I hope we didn't own slavery. We weren't part of it. That was my whole thing. You never know. And luckily I found out that either they were slaves when they first got over in the country, and then there was the other side that were from Italy, and, well, we all know what Italians are, and, well...
Yeah, I was lucky.
Unfortunately, the Italian side were the stereotype.
I am a lot German. I got a lot of German in me. The only thing I don't have is the blue eyes, blonde hair. My sister does. I didn't.
But you don't come from Nazis, which is awesome.
No, I don't. All my ancestors were not Nazi sympathizers. They weren't radicals. They came over during the war. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. So they came over and dealt with being German, U.S. during the war.
Mine were Italian, who were, well, mafia.
But anyhow.
Hey, whatever. But at least you know what? We provided alcohol for the ones who needed it. I guess I come from, a long line of people who give back. Anyway.
Next
okay.
Subject.
Moving right along. Now, I know you
I wonder
want...
how many people go fast forward, lift off, and we're still talking about fast forward.
Speaking of which, that's another story here. Is, folks, I'm always thinking, are we sounding like a good podcast? Are we uniform to a typical podcast? I do a lot of research on this stuff to make sure that we're typically what the pattern is. And ironically, you and I have a very normal pattern of what a podcast is supposed to sound like.
Awesome.
We are not a radio show. We are a podcast. We're an internet radio show. And all the podcasts out there that I hear, and I listen to probably, oh my gosh, I will listen to at least 1 to 5 new ones per week to hear a different pattern to make sure we sound good, make sure we're not off by any means. Yeah, we're a little scattered at times, but every podcast, they're all like this. Okay. Ironic. So you know, we cater to pet lovers. We are here for you. We are fine on time. So, I just want everybody to know.
I already want a break.
Well, we're going to get there. So, anyways, the next topic is something that you wanted to talk about.
Yes.
Go on.
It was mentioned on Dog Groomers Rock's Facebook page. I just mentioned, hey, if there's anything you want people to know and understand without coming off rude yourself, you know, I can say these things because of my own time, my personal time that we're doing, that we're trying to help others to understand. And tough love kind of thing. One person's like, how are you going to tell people that you can't finish the groom because the dog's trying to eat your face?
Very good question.
Try to do that without being rude.
And you know what's funny is that does not just start at the grooming table. It can start as early as taking them out of the kennel for a bath.
Or even dropping the dog off. I myself, luckily, have been very skilled when it comes to handling aggression.
Let me say this because I think it was in the previous podcast. Sarah had a famous line to me when I first started. I said, you know, you have aggressive dogs.
Why are all your dogs so difficult?
Yeah, why are your dogs so difficult? It seems like they're all aggressive. Sarah kind of gave me this look, and she said, well, honey, I do aggressive dogs. Therefore, you do aggressive dogs. And you left it at that.
I've started at my beginning of the career. You know, if you can't groom an aggressive dog properly, you're not going to have much of a grooming career. My instructor at the academy I went to, and yes, folks, I went to an actual academy. I have a certificate from the state of California, from Orange County, California. So, yes, I am credited. Anywho, moving on.
Well, you know, if you want to talk about certificates of achievement, I've got plenty of them, and they're all way more than what a lot of people have in this town.
So, when doing aggressive dogs, you have to really judge on how they're going to react. And some dogs are so aggressive that you can't even take them from their owner. So small dogs that owners carry in, what I tell them is please hand me your dog, but first. Because they see you going away and they don't see me coming at them. It's the owner's giving them to me instead of their perception of me taking them from the owner. So it's but first.
A dog can be very aggressive when you get into a dog and owner's personal space.
Right. So that's one way I deal with this aggression. But there have been times that dogs have freaked out so much I couldn't finish them. And folks, when a groomer tells you they can't finish the dog because the dog is too aggressive, they don't want to hurt the dog, and they don't want to get hurt, take it gracefully.
Yes.
Don't say, well, you're not trying hard enough. Oh, my dog never bites me when I groom him. Well, okay, dog doesn't bite you when you groom him. Get a pair of clippers, human clippers, and you try to put vibrating clippers on the back of a dog that tries to bite. And let's see how you come out of that situation. See who wins. I guarantee you the dog's going to win.
Dog wins.
So this might sound a little rude, but people need to realize dogs are aggressive when they're not with their owner sometimes.
And there's one thing that I want to add to it. One thing that I've always told Sarah from the beginning, I had a rule. And that was, if a dog is aggressive, that's fine. If a dog is so aggressive they're stressing out, there are certain ways that you have to combat that. You have to take it with full-fledged awareness.
Yeah.
You need to watch every aspect of the dog. If the dog is having certain
difficulties.
Well, I was going to say mannerisms, but difficulties.
Well, signs would be over excessive drooling. Some dogs just drool.
Yes.
We have a Rottweiler that comes in Bo.
Yes.
I love Bo.
It's not that's my thought. It's the yawning.
Well, I'll get that today. But he drools obsessively everywhere. He's not stressed out, but when he does get here, he does drool a lot. That is one sign of stress.
Yes.
But that's the only sign of stress that he has. He gets out, he licks us, he plays with us. It's fine. He just doesn't like the bath. It's the anticipation of the bath that kills us.
Yes.
But another sign is, like you said, yawning.
Yes.
Excessive yawning. Dogs aren't yawning because they're tired.
Nope.
They're doing it because they're nervous.
Yes.
Heavy panting.
Yes.
Some dogs pant like crazy because that's the way they are. They're hot or they're just obsessive panters. But most of the time it is another sign of stress. Dogs' gums turning white
Yes.
is a sign of stress. Especially if they're panting a lot, that means they're not getting enough oxygen in there.
And you're seeing that chest at a rapid pace, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. So you get the yawning, the white gums, the panting. You know at this point
It's
there's
time
a
to
problem.
stop.
Yes.
It's time to stop, and it's time to let the dog go home.
Or, in our case, we've found that there's, majority of the time, we've actually yet to have the dog have to go home.
Actually, no.
we
I had
had-
one dog that I couldn't finish.
Well, I was thinking about me. I don't think I've had one that had to go home yet.
No. There's one dog, I keep wanting to call him Beanie, Bernie.
Yes. Oh, yes.
He's a little morky,
Yes.
and he went banana balls on me.
Yes.
He went absolutely crazy. I ended up getting a couple bites, a lot of scratches, and he just freaked out so bad. I couldn't finish from his neck up. I hand scissored his legs, his chest, and his tail, but everything else I was able to complete except for the head. I had to send him home. Come to find out, guy's back again.
I know.
Come to find out, there was a treat he was being given that messed his chemical, or made him chemically imbalanced in his
Yes.
head. So therefore he went crazy.
We talked about him before.
Right. So there's a lot of reasons why the dog's stressing out. Well, I had to send him home. Luckily the owners were real nice about it. Hey, I understand. I don't know what's going on. We just got him a couple of days ago. We'll see how it goes from here on out. Well, come to find out, the dog ended up biting the owners and all this other stuff. They stopped his favorite treat because they were not going to reward him by giving him his favorite treat. Well, it just so happened that was the exact treat that was causing these problems. They stopped and he changed almost overnight. Became a different dog. They gave it to him again, he became aggressive again. So, but people, please, don't second guess the groomer about the dog's aggression.
And a full disclosure will be told to you upon pickup of your dog. And if it's not,
Should be.
if it's not, you've got yourself a problem. I'm not
Right.
going to reference anything in other things, but there are definitely reasons why you need a full disclosure after every groom.
Right. When there is a specific problem, I make sure to speak with the customer either by phone, text, email, or in person. I tell the people what happened, and they're like, I've never had an issue
Or
like that.
sometimes they'll be like, oh yeah, I know that they're aggressive. I know my dog is aggressive, that they never tell you
Yes,
ahead of time. You find out a lot of times.
you're right. So I tell them, hey, look, your dog's aggressive. No one's ever told me that before. And I grabbed the cards from the previous groomer. And I said, yeah, look, it says it right here. Dog bites for this, must muzzle for that. I try not to let them see some of the bad stuff that was written.
Well,
But-
that's another story.
Yeah. I kind of try to cover it up with my thumb because I think that is just absolutely rude to write
Well,
negative
actually,
comments.
I don't mind. I don't
But
mind
then-
mentioning that. There are. I'm sorry. Go ahead, and I'll reference that.
So they are like, well, why didn't anybody tell me? I said, well, some groomers, for some reason, don't like to tell. I want to be upfront, honest. I want to make sure people know that just in case they go out of town, they move somewhere else, that they can let that groomer know, hey, look, last groomer said he was aggressive for X, Y, Z.
There's a reason for that, though. If the groomer's bit, they have to report that bite.
Yep.
If that is when it's documented, you could lose your dog.
Yeah, there's only so many dog bites
Isn't it like 2?
3, I think.
I thought,
Well,
yeah.
California is 3.
I thought it
3
now
dog
moved down
bites,
to 2.
they're killed.
Yeah, I thought euthanized. Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah,
2 now.
you don't have a choice in this.
Yeah.
If your dog bites and it's reported, then that means if you go to the hospital to get the stitches done, there's a report. Police officer comes in and makes a report on it. You have to give the dog's name, information,
Yep.
and it goes down on record. So therefore, after so many bites, the dog is taken from you and killed.
See, I thought it was 2 because here's why. I told you my grandmother got bit by paws maybe last year or something like that. It was documented. And they told her if it happens again, paws will be taken in and euthanized. So I think they moved it to 2.
Wow.
I know, right? That's why I was like, wow.
That's retarded. I have my own feelings about it, but so you want to make sure that you let the groomer know. You let the vet know. Let them know.
Yeah.
Don't hide it. I'm sorry if it's coming off rude.
No,
but
it's not. It's sometimes tough love has to happen.
Right. Well, luckily, I've had most customers that have been pretty level-headed and understood what I was telling them. I know I have another dog, Bailey. Bailey is a Shih Tzu, and the first time I groomed her, the way I groom, I do body, legs, feet, and then face. Face is last. I got to the face, I couldn't finish it. Dog went psycho. I'm talking about bouncing off the table, biting at me, biting at the loop, biting at my everything. Bit my cord. I told the lady, I'm sorry, I could not go on any further. I scissored up as much as I possibly could to get him to the next room. I told the lady, hey, do me a favor. Give your pet a sedative when it comes in, because I do not drug dogs. I do not give sedatives. So if you're dropping off early and your dog needs a sedative at 11 to get groomed at 12:30, I'm not doing it.
Right.
You cannot do that. I'm sorry. There's stipulations for dogs that have to be sedated. So this lady lives in Salem, and she drives like 40 minutes just to get to us, 30 minutes just to get to us. And she's been doing that for years now. But gave her the sedative. Chris jumps on the bath right away because the dog doesn't go crazy at the bath. It goes crazy for the face work.
Right.
So,
well, you have to be careful though. When a dog has aggression for face, they still have aggression for bath. Now a lot of groomers, when they're giving baths, they don't actually wash the face. They put water, but they don't wash the face.
Well, and then another thing too is some groomers, when they do wash the face, they just squirt the hypoallergenic on their face or the tearless shampoo and think, oh, it's not going to burn their eyes. I'm sorry, it's soap. It's going to burn. So the way we do is we make sure that once we wash the face and get in between the eyes and get all that crusty stuff off, we follow up with a towel to get all the excess water so it doesn't go into their eyeballs. So you don't have any kind of red rash or red eyes when the dog picks up. And luckily, Bailey, this specific dog, doesn't go crazy for washing the face. She gets washed, gets blow dried. She stays in the crate for maybe 10 minutes, just enough for her ears to fully dry. I pull her out. I finish her face, get her face all nice and pretty, get her nails trimmed, and then put her back in the kennel so she can dry the rest. And then I can finish her body whenever I feel like it, even if the sedative wore off.
Right. Well, these are just things that you have to know.
Right. I know Jake Smith. I love Jake. I love Jake so much. He's a dog that used to be highly aggressive. Last groomer couldn't handle him anymore, I guess. Or
well, that's again another story.
And it
behind
took us
behind
a
the
year.
grooming doors are where these stories pretty much stay. Yeah.
But it took Chris and I about a year to get Jake used to getting his face messed with and washing his face. The only time he gets anywhere near a tissy fit is when his skin is hurting him because he has bad skin.
I'm dying to see how those dog treats worked out for him.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
The grain-free dental chews.
From Tropiclean.
Tropiclean, yeah. They have grain-free dental chews.
Yeah.
Instead of greenies, it's definitely a safe alternative for dogs who are allergic to grain.
Yeah. Anything else on that?
No, I think that was an important subject to cover.
Right.
we ourselves don't have very many difficulties with that. Look at that schnauzer that you had.
Oh boy.
It tried to eat you.
Yes. Friday.
And I thought by putting it in a bigger run, and this huge run that we put like a Newfoundland in,
He still wanted to
would
go.
be okay. No, he wanted to eat your face.
Anything in any type of confined area, he was gonna go nuts.
And
He was great outside of it, but
yeah, once we got him, picked him up, he was so sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Such a good little
kennel
schnauzer.
aggressive.
So,
Now I'm gonna open up the back room for everybody. Open up the situation here. Let me careful.
Careful.
Let me tell you, folks. There is.
Because this rabbit hole can go pretty deep.
Oh, I know.
So
I'm
let's not go too deep.
just gonna take it off the
Skim it off top.
Yeah, skim it off the top. There is the enjoyment of any shop. There's always going to be something. But one of the things that you will find, especially for a lot of people, is you'll have previous people who work there. What they will do is they will have their own notes. Previous people have their own notes. And they don't think to themselves that maybe I should not have those notes in the availability of anybody else. Well, unfortunately, or fortunately I should say, all those notes of prior customers, prior dogs, were left behind.
Prior comments of those customers.
Well, that's it. Slanderous comments of customers.
Something I would never do because I'm the one that pulls out the card. So it shows, most of the time it's computer based.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a computer system.
But not in this. Not here.
Not here. There's no point to it.
No.
So I like to show cards, and I like to explain. They can see the dates. They can see what they've paid.
Yes. You want
They can
full
see
disclosure.
Exactly. My grooming is so transparent. I have a window so people can see.
Well, the point that I'm trying to make here, I'm going to make it very brief and very subtle, but all those previous notes of two people were left behind. Now, here's the thing, and I'm not going to make a big thing out of this, but all those notes about previous customers, previous dogs, and some of the comments were
Really shows character of the
Yes.
person who wrote them.
If it's one of those things, you really have to kind of think to yourself, why would you write such terrible things about people that you're taking their money? And I'm pretty sure there's other grooming salons out there that do this, but there's one particularly that I'm thinking of. There are a lot of notes about the customer and the dog, and some really terrible things to say about the dog itself.
Some foul language used.
Very foul. And it's funny because you keep pushing at people and pushing. What says that you don't take it to the newspaper and publish it? And I'm putting that out there, The question is, you keep antagonizing and antagonizing. What makes somebody not say, you know what? These notes literally are detrimental. Why not publish them in the paper? It's one of those things. Reporters love content that's juicy and damaging to people. We all know the media is not your best friend. Actually, they'll print any story that will actually hurt somebody, sadly enough. That's what these are. Archive, kept to hold, never know what to do with. But just pointing that out. All right.
And other grooming salons, to you guys, don't do it.
No.
Don't.
If you're a young groomer.
I mean, it even happened at the very first salon that I worked at. People wrote really nasty things, and I had to go back and delete them and reword them. I like to use words like feisty or
Aggressive.
Your pup is a pistol.
Yes.
Very free-spirited.
Things that when they read it, if they see it, they're not going to say, what did you just say about me?
Your dog's a dip, and your dog's an a-hole.
And you are, or owner's a real piece of. So these are things that, I've been asked this question already. Well, if you have all this stuff, why don't you publish it? That's a very good question. It was just asked to me yesterday. Well, since you have all this stuff, why don't you publish it? There's a good reason, folks. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to take that approach. But we're going into the next segment, which we'll feature into. But it's at that stage where it's still not necessary, but it's there. You know, there's a standard that you can kind of put together, literally detrimental to a person. Where I mean, if it was me, I'd be like, oh gosh. But all right, moving on. So we're going to start a brand new segment.
Oh.
Hold on. What?
Dog food.
I know. We're going to be starting a brand new segment.
Oh, I see what I know what
Yeah,
you're doing.
segue. Yeah. All right, folks. This is a brand new segment. I'm going to give you the full song. Now, I love, of course, scrolling through the internet as the rest of us.
Yeah, you're a YouTube junkie.
Well, I'm an everything junkie. I like going online, and I surf a great deal throughout the whole week. So there is a great song put together by an independent person who took a news recording of a nice lady and made it into an actual song. You might have already heard it, but this segment is going to be called Ain't Nobody Got Time for That. And it is our catchphrase, and it will be our new segment. So enjoy. This is going to be Ain't Nobody Got Time for That.
Bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Well, I woke up to go give me a cold pop. Then I thought somebody was barbecuing. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. I ran for my life. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Jesus, 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 it's a fire. Oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
So, as you can tell, that is our new segment. I love the song, and that is the catchphrase at work.
I went out for a cold pop.
Pull a pop. You know, I'm
Cold
sorry.
pop.
I am not a Midwesterner. I come from the, L.A. And we say
The
soda.
South. I think pop comes from
I think
the
it does
South.
come from the South, but it is a big thing out here. Pop is
Cold
huge.
Pop.
I love it.
got bronchitis.
I loved
Ain't
it.
nobody got time for that.
I loved it. I absolutely loved
She
it.
was so sweet and so nice, and she was so scared. You could just tell she was worried. And
I loved
luckily
it.
everything went okay. You know, the people ended up being okay and such. But it was
Greatest-
awesome. We listened to it
greatest.
a couple times a day almost.
A couple times a day is the catch. And so from now on, you will hear there is a segment that we now have called Ain't Nobody Got Time for That.
And it's going to be short. You're not going to listen to the entire
Nope.
song each time.
Nope, I've actually minimized it down to a very small thing. I kind of made it so it's just going to be a bit, but it is going to be our thing.
So tell me, what do we not have time for?
Well, there's
Ain't
a lot.
Nobody got time for that.
There's
What
a lot
is
of
it?
things. But I'm honest, we have two things this week that Ain't Nobody Got Time for. And the first one, I want everybody to know there is a recall out there. Pedigree has announced a recall of, and I'm going to make sure you get this all right, folks. It is the Adult Complete Nutrition. Now, here's the thing. There's certain things you need to look at, and there's certain locations that you need to be aware of. For starters, it's only 15-pound bags of Pedigree Adult Complete Nutrition dry dog food, and the production code detailed below, and I'm going to give that to you right now, and that is 432 Charlie 1 King Mary 03. Again, that code is 432 Charlie 1 King Mary 03. It's printed on the back of the bag near the UPC, and the best before date is 8/5 of 2015. So now here's the next thing. Each one of these bags of dog food were sold at 12 different locations of Dollar General stores. The locations were in Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee. So if you're located in any of those areas and you may have picked up one of these bags of dog food, here's the deal. Small shards of metal were found in the actual bags, and Pedigree actually voluntarily, but still, they recalled every bag. So if you for some reason are in those 4 different states, you went to a Dollar General and bought a bag of Pedigree adult, definitely look for that UPC. It's on this week's album art. So if you need anything, if you don't see our album art for some reason this week, send me an email, thegroomernextdoor@yahoo.com. I can send it over to you right away. I'm going to make sure that your dogs don't actually ingest any of this metal.
Yeah, the dog food recalls are horrible. I went through 2 dog food recalls when I was working at the big box pet store. It hit hard. They actually pulled groomers out to the floor to pull the dog food. Everybody was on staff. Everybody who was on staff was dealing with that. There was like 1 cash register open, and everybody just blocked it off, saying, I'm sorry, let me know what kind of food you want, and we'll direct you to the area. But we had to quarantine the area so we can pull all the dog food. A lot of times it's salmonella or contaminated meat. Even though it says packaged in the U.S., doesn't mean they get their meat from the U.S. A lot of times it comes from the Orient.
Yeah.
So be vigilant to stay up to date on the dog food that you get. Most of the time, the high-end dog food you don't have issues with. I know the one dog food recall, the Nutrisource rep came into our store and had us pull all Nutrisource. So every single pack, we have a whole aisle. We had a whole aisle dedicated to Nutrisource that we had to pull, all these bags of dog food. Come to find out, Nutrisource never had a problem. They went and they tested every batch that was made. So we put their stuff back up. If you notice, a lot of the dog food recalls are in the lower end brand, which is the Pedigree, the Purina, Old Roy, Old Yeller. There's an Old Yeller out there too.
I've always found that to be a weird one because it actually has Disney on the top of it. It says Disney's Old Yeller.
Right.
And it's like a 30-pound bag. It's a huge bag for like $3.
Yeah, so it's super cheap.
Well, here's the thing. With this was, and I've seen 2 press releases on this. The first one was an absolute open one. That's how I found out about the metal. This one comes directly from the Mars Pet Care. Yes, folks, Mars. Mars is in the chocolate company. They own a sliding scale of dog food brands.
Yeah, it goes from super high end.
Yes.
To
I was going to start with super low end and work its way up as a gradual. Actually, they just purchased, and we mentioned it in the podcast when we were at the trade show, they had just purchased another brand. So Mars actually does a great job. They like their sliding scale dog food. But it's funny, in this press release it says they voluntarily recalled it, and that's all in bold. It was a foreign material. Now, obviously, I want you guys to be aware it was actual metal shards, and this is something that can happen. I'm not gonna knock Mars Pet Care for it. They are doing the right thing by pulling and by going to the people. This stuff can happen. Machines do grind. There is a definite chance that this can happen. So it's not their fault. But if you do have this brand and you did buy it in any of the 4 places and your UPC, your product code matches, definitely take it back to the general store, Dollar General, and I'm pretty sure that they'll refund your money or they will give you another bag. It depends on store policy. So, all right, anything you want to add on that one?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that the company went ahead and pulled it voluntarily.
I do too.
Dogs need to eat. Dogs need food, whether it's high end or low end. Food's food, and it's nice to see them actually caring about it enough to do this instead of say, well, we'll probably take a hit off one or two dogs dying here and there and call it good, because sometimes pulling dog food and redoing the dog food will cost more than paying off owners for their death of their dogs. So they actually pulled it off and hoping and getting information out there that nothing happens to those dogs.
Yeah, I do too.
It shows that they care. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. I look at it a little deeper than just, oh my gosh, they did this, how dare they? No, they were pretty vigilant to try to get this taken care of, and so no other dogs will get hurt.
Yeah, very true.
So I don't know if there's any fatalities from it yet.
I don't think so. I think that they probably located it,
Rather
probably
quickly.
sampling some of their product.
Warehouses in general, stuff happens at warehouses.
It does.
Even in the warehouses that make some of our food, they're allowed to have so many rats.
Yeah.
Look, that's how it is with stuff.
Yeah, I'm not downing Mars Pet Care. I'm not down pedigree.
Nobody has time.
Nobody got time for that.
Nope.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to our last segment, and it's all part of the Ain't Nobody Got Time for That.
Yeah, we'll keep it short.
Yeah. So, this is a continuation of BS that we're facing. Hi, buddy. The little one just walked by. She's not so little anymore.
I know.
We've been facing a great deal. You've heard it over and over and over again. We have a parasite in the midst. This person has wanted to either plagiarize this podcast, destroy this podcast, use it for financial gain. You pretty much named it the way that it could be. This person has done it. A week ago, they thought that it was so unique of them to want to all of a sudden volunteer with the organization that I have made so abundantly clear and publicly clear I'm supportive of. This person has lived in this town their entire life. They could give a rat's you-know-what about any organization, and they made that very clear to people that we know in prior times. This person is just just that. They're just a real problem. Last week it was pretty frustrating to see that all of a sudden you're trying to hone in on something that I'm doing just so that you can get financial gain. For that, I pretty much just go, ain't nobody got time for that.
That's kind of, you and I kind of differ a little bit there between us.
We disagree a little bit. We disagree on a lot of things. We disagree on how a lot of the different things go in this.
See, the way I look at it, okay, in our relationship, I don't force you to believe in what I believe, and you don't force me to believe what you believe. So my take on it is that, yes, this person has never helped out. There has been numerous people have said, "Oh, are you kidding me? They're never going to do that. They won't do that here."
Well, what's going to happen is it's going to get to be old, and then they're not going to want to do it anymore.
Do you realize? I look at Chris. I'm like, do you realize how much you've done with these people and how much that we're trying to help out animals? That you are actually forcing this said person, to help.
Yeah,
You are making them help.
Yeah,
they went their entire lives not giving a darn, and yet now they have to give a darn because they can't be the only ones in town not doing anything.
And I like that. So you know what? You're welcome that I've actually made you who you are.
Exactly. You're the one that forced them to use their gas, their wear and tear on their car to do what they did, and it helped an animal. You forced them to help.
The problem I have with it is that this person does it for financial gain. They are using it as an advertisement.
Even if it was, in my opinion, you're still getting something done. There's still that kitten, that dog, whatever it was, that needed to be transported, got another chance to find a happy home.
Well, it's easy to
And
do when you don't
it-
have anything to do. If you don't have work, then it's easy to do. I mean, I couldn't do it because it's on a
unfortunately
weekday.
for us, we have our daughter.
Oh my gosh, we have so many
We
things.
have grooming. We try our hardest to help out. I mean, this kitten has ruled my life.
We
since I got home.
volunteer with organizations. I'm now involved in our daughter's soccer. It's, between that, PTO, everything that we're involved in.
PTA.
Yes,
Come on,
it
folks.
used to be PTA, it's now PTO. To actually have to attend PTO, I mean, it's not have to, want to be part of Claire's soccer team, to, now having to go to a coach's clinic for her, to do all the stuff that we do. It requires a great deal of sacrifice and time, which is worth it.
Well, so
We're doing things for PCAWL, all the stuff. Now, another thing I didn't mention, because it was in part of last week's show, is we actually were outside of Walmart last Saturday, a week ago this past week.
And one of the hottest days of the year.
But we raised at least $50 for them in donation. We didn't get any registration for them for Strut Your Mutt.
We had a lot of raffle tickets.
But we had a great deal of raffle tickets. Keith and Carla Husky at Shadowwood were gracious enough to donate 2 dog beds. They were Duck Dynasty dog beds to be raffled off. We had to pull at least $50.
Yeah, I wanted to get the head guy from Duck Dynasty and Phil.
Yeah.
Well, we sold out all the Phils. So it was Jason. I wish I remember the first little guy's name. I don't watch it very often. We don't have time to watch TV, period. But we had a lot of fun doing it.
We did. It was
handed
great.
out a lot of free dog food.
Yeah, it was great. We got to meet a lot of people. We had an absolute great time. So, but with all this going on, we've still got this problem.
And the problem escalates from them trying to do what we do and mimicking us, which is fine. To me, it's fine. I don't care. Go ahead and help out as much as you can, because if we're forcing you to be a better person, then yay.
But, it's a great philosopher once said that plagiarism is the greatest sign of flattery. I don't see it that way. Plagiarism is just somebody who has no creative genes in their body, who couldn't come up with a good thought to save their life.
Right.
And then they take other people's stuff, and then they try to profit off it. And that's where I just say, are you really serious?
Another thing that ain't nobody got time for is that said person spreading lies.
That's the big part. Now, here's the big thing, folks. Let me give you a little piece of law 101. Everything you post on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere, it is admissible. Boy, it's so hard for me to talk tonight. It is admissible in a court of law in all 50 states. Or if you're in Obama's country, it's all 57 states. You are actually allowed to use any content that is put on Facebook, whether you currently have it on there or delete it. If you have a copy of said post and you present this to a lawyer, you can file an injunction on said person, and you can also sue their employer for it, especially if it has a reference to do with their business. And that's the deal here, folks. This person decided yesterday, and thank you to the Groomer Next Door army out there who let us know all the time when this happens, which is lovely that there's an actual mole in her organization of friends. They have a photo sent to us, which we now obtained, of this statement. Now it has your name, it has your Facebook picture, it has everything of you, and it has slanderish lies. Now, it's not just slander, folks. Here's the deal. This isn't slander only. This is libel, because it's in print.
Right. So we have copies of that. We have copies of a few other things too that this person found for us. But,
well, we've obtained a lot of it over the months that have a lot of this.
All the new groomers that we have listening to us now.
Careful what you write.
Well, you might have gone through the same thing as I've gone through. And what we're going through now is somebody lying and spreading rumors that I drug dogs. And there's a lot of customers that have left my salon, and their dogs died. Somebody has a black enough heart to say that. It's not true. There has not been a single case of any issues. like that.
Well, one of it was a reference back to a slanderous statement that the owners of the shop actually had already forced the owner of another shop to forcefully take this down, or legal actions would be taken.
Exactly.
So therefore, that salon, now here's the joy, folks, lawyers are going to be involved this week. Now, whether they go to the person's home or they just go to the business of said person, you can guarantee it's not only the person who said it, it is the person and her employer who is now liable for this.
See, the big problem here is that the most important people in my life is the man sitting in front of me and my little girl that's playing right now. And for somebody to have such a black heart to spread lies and rumors that I kill dogs, that could end my business, that can end my cash flow, that means they are willing to allow my family to go homeless because of those.
And here's my thing. I honestly... Go ahead.
How dark-hearted can this person be to want my family homeless? They want all the dogs in the world to go to their shop, yet they won't be able to handle all of them. I can't handle all the ones that we got now.
We're booked up as it is.
Exactly.
Well, here's my thing. We are not going to accept any financial gain from this. I want the attorney, go after him for everything you can. You can have all of it. If you can't take all of it, then donate the rest to an NPO. I don't want a dime of this, but I want to make sure that financials are going to be had on this, and I hope that this attorney, if he's driven by the fact that we will sign over everything to them, that'll give them incentive. If you're a lawyer and you want to take on a case,
or if you're a groomer married to a lawyer,
yeah, come on, give us an email, the groomer next door. This is one of your opportunities. You can make a fortune. You can literally make a fortune on this one, because this alone, this is a slanderous comment that is going to impede somebody's business. I only want to see justice here, and I don't want to do this. I don't want to have this stupid tit for tat back and forth. Here's where it is. We got the proof of it. If you're, you know what, it goes to a lawyer. I want you to take this to the fullest amount. I hope you get rich off of this, but end it now.
because the biggest thing out there, what really, part of it kind of hurts, because I've never had an issue like that. I've never stressed a dog out to the point where they had to go put the dog down. And if any person had to put their dog down because of the grooming, they would have come after us. They would have sued me
there would have been
personally for their pain and suffering.
Well, they would have sued you, and they would have sued
the company,
the place that we work. So that's the joy here. It's spreading these vicious rumors around, and it's not the first time. There is a second one that this happened, that we also have this information that this was posted on an actual shop's website. So it's not only on this personal website.
Yes, because another thing happened too, is that
they pulled this stuff
I
before.
saw on their company Facebook, or their shop's Facebook page, about how the last groomer gashed open this dog's ear. And I looked at the dogs, I looked at their names, I knew who they were. So I called the lady. I said, Mrs. So-and-so, I got a voicemail. I said, I read this off of so-and-so's Facebook page. If this really did happen, I am so sorry. I didn't know anything about this. I didn't see any blood. Please call me back. I need to know.
Yeah, this went
how
really bad for somebody.
I was shaking because I couldn't believe I hurt a dog that badly. I was a wreck.
Yeah.
And she didn't come. She came into the shop the next day, and she looked me dead in the eye, and she said, "I am so sorry you had to read that. That is a lie. I wanted to let you know."
It was the outcome of how it played out, though.
Yeah, she goes, "I wanted to let you know that I called her up."
No, she went in there physically, didn't she?
I think so.
Yeah, she went physically in there,
One of the two. I said,
I think she went in there physically, wanted to look at them in the eyes, if I remember the story.
Can't remember that part, but you read me word for word what you said on that post. You asked me if it was okay to put their pictures on Facebook. That was fine, but not what you wrote.
And that person had to physically read it.
The said person that said that I hurt dogs and I kill them.
Then they lost multiple clients.
So she said, "You delete that right now, and you cancel my next appointment." And she she was telling me the story, and I had tears in my eyes. I said, I thought I hurt your dogs. I thought I literally just damaged your dogs.
And this is why, back to that whole, going behind the groomer's door, when I was mentioning the cards and stuff like that, there's a reason why we don't publish them. There's a very good reason why we don't. And that doesn't, with that said and done, that's not saying it's not available to do so. We're not these people. These people, if they had this in their hands, they would have published it in any newspaper and any kind of capacity.
We've told them time and time again, just leave us alone.
Yes.
Leave us alone, leave us alone, leave us alone. What happened one time was that by accident I went to the website to see what they were doing, because they've said stuff numerous times about us and
you have
named
to watch
us.
them.
So we have to watch it to make sure, because we are not going to take any hits from this, because they have black hearts. So by accident I hit a 1 star on the rating. I freaked out, didn't know how to delete it, right? They made a comment about, hey, I don't know you, why are you rating us? So I messaged them, I am totally sorry, I did not mean to do that, I don't know how to delete it.
But in a vindictive way.
But I didn't know how to do it, so I found out a way to delete it. One of my friends told me, so I deleted it, it was gone.
Right, but in a vindictive way, what happens?
They went back to my company's Facebook page, and then they rated a 1 star and wrote something nasty on there. Well, okay, if this is how you want to act, and you want to lower our star rating because you can't handle competition?
Yeah, what you're doing is you're hurting customers who want to find a place to go. So you're just trying to steal.
We have a good place where we're at. So you're forcing someone to go somewhere else that might not be so good.
Right.
And what happens if something happens to that dog there? That was your fault for writing that review. So
I'm sorry, folks, for the loud sound.
So then I went to their page. All I did was put a 1 star. I did not write anything because I don't know them.
And I have not ever posted on their page, so...
And this was, a good 10 months ago. Well, she finally got the courage.
I don't know if I'd call it courage, but...
Whatever. To point it out. And I wanted to read something that I have here. They said, this is word for word, you aren't even a customer. Just because the shop is competition to yours doesn't mean you need to rate ours. Please stick to your own shop and leave ours alone. Thank you. Okay. I mentioned to her, I will be more than happy to remove my star rating if you remove ours from mine. There is no need for you to rate us after you left our shop. You posted this a few months after you left. So you went at us first. And then she blocked me, and I couldn't see her quote anymore. So what I did is that I went and I deleted the 1 star because I went on my Facebook page, or my business Facebook page, and saw she removed hers. Okay?
Right.
So I followed through with what I said. I said I would delete mine if she deleted hers.
But she also slammed somebody else, and it was only a vindictive reason because her and her current husband had dated a long time ago. It was just being vindictive. The other person doesn't like her for other reasons. She has true stories of what this person is like. So she has a reason to not like her, and she slammed her as well. But the point is, folks, nobody's got time for this. It's now just going to go to a lawyer.
We've warned.
We've made this very clear.
Very clear.
Time.
Leave us alone. Okay. I don't have an issue. There's more than plenty dogs in Rolla for each groomer here to be busy.
Make your own path. Stop following other people.
Yeah, and stop trying to degrade someone else who has no record. You can go back to every salon I've worked at. Even the 5 different salons that I helped recuperate their loss.
But you were under a corporate umbrella, too.
Exactly. So people love coming after corporations because they know corporations have deep pockets.
Oh, yeah.
And not a single case of foul play was made.
Right.
Not a single one. You can go back through all my records. You can talk to my previous employer. You can talk to the previous employer before that.
Right.
Nothing has happened. So why in the world are you making up candid lies? I mean, you're
doing it. You're only doing this just so that you can continue to. I don't know if they're struggling. I mean, rumor is that they're struggling, that they can't keep customers anymore. I don't know. I'm not going into their shop. I don't know, but all I know.
I don't care.
I don't care, but it's come to that stage, folks, that you know what, we've done everything we can to just say back up.
So many lies just to hurt us.
Yeah.
And what she doesn't realize, or she doesn't care to because her heart's so black, is that I have a little girl that is dependent on us.
Yep.
And if we lose all of our money, all of our clients, because of a ridiculous lie, which most people can see through, and render us homeless, I'm sorry. Nobody comes between me and my family.
Well, that's the part here. I mean, I have a couple people who are disagreeing with my disapproval of what's going on. And the thing is, folks, you know what? How would you feel if your wife or your husband was being attacked?
Viciously
attacked, and not just a little bit. And don't give me this. It's tit for tat. Don't give me this. Well, you know what? Just turn a blind eye and take the high road. There's a certain level here, folks, that you know what? You just have to say, I either can take one or two paths: the wrong way or the legal way. Well, I'm not going to go the wrong way here. I'm lucky to have married somebody with a lot of integrity. I have the integrity. We come from backgrounds that led us to be the people we are today. You can look at my background. Mine's law. I've got great deal of high level areas. I'm not going to tarnish it for some idiot who is on this crusade of ignorance. You're pretty much you now you put yourself in a corner. Your statements yesterday, honestly, it's so detrimental to you and to your employer. I mean, I would honestly vow to say you can resign today when you hear this. My best suggestion: resign from your job, walk away, and leave it. Or, because honestly, that's going to be one of the things here. One of the stipulations. We're going to, we will have conversations with the attorney. They're going to have a conversation with your employer. It's going to be first thing, they need to cut you loose.
You've already
because
lost
you're the problem.
quite a few customers because
you've lost the customers, but I think you've lost your job now. And I don't like people to lose their job. But the fact is that this is a small town. What you did, literally, I don't even know if you can hold your other job with this.
Consequences.
Yeah, there's consequences to everything.
You lie, you pay the consequence. That's how it is.
And that's,
and we'll talk to our lawyer, because I am not
I'm
going
not
to
playing
lose out on my money that will keep a roof over my daughter's head.
And if the lawyer says publish it in the paper as well, if that's still legal, that'll go in the paper as well. I mean, honestly, this is going to become.
We can go one or two routes. We can make sure we go as hard as we can, and
we have evidence. That's the problem.
I also have an in-law that was the attorney for Honda.
Yep.
I will be speaking to him. I got all his information, and I've spent Christmases with him, and birthdays with him. Yeah, I'm going to be heading up this attorney that used to be the head attorney for Honda.
But hey, if there's any attorneys who want to make buku bucks, you can have as much as the law will give you, and then the rest of it, just give it to an MPO of our choice. But we've
been trying to say for the longest time, leave us alone.
Yeah, back up, turn around, and they don't want to learn.
And we have stuff going as far back as October.
Yeah. And of course, if the law wants the cards of their previous work of what they did here, it will be submitted.
Yeah, if it's subpoenaed, we'll give it to them.
And again, here's the other part here and involved in this. It's not just what we're saying. There are eyewitnesses of customers. There is people who have worked with these people. there's a
I've had
great
my
deal.
customers that have been with me for years.
Well, there's
that will
people
go
who
and-
have statements to make against these people as well. There is a large amount of evidence here, and it's now time to just say enough of this. It's over. You pretty much you did it yesterday by doing what you did. It's now the final truth. So, with that, ain't nobody got time for that, and nobody's got time for you. So I'm done with that. It's out there. You just pretty much wait for the shoe to fall. Anything you want to go?
No, I'm done. I just want to get on with our grooming. We got new shears. I'm so excited.
We got them last week, yeah.
I ran around the salon. I got new shears. I got new shears. I got new shears. So.
And you know what Sarah mentioned it in the last one, but it's the lost episode. I want everybody to know, Sarah had mentioned it, I think it's time to put it out there. I will officially start grooming probably
Right away.
sometime this week, or, starting to, do a lot more. Of course, I have a great teacher with you. So
You got yourself a brand new pair of shears, brand new
do.
pair of clippers. I gotta send out blades to be
but
sharpened.
I have the greatest teacher out there, so
Aw.
yeah, I'm very lucky. Unfortunately, I didn't pluralize this podcast because it was only really you who was the groomer, so it's actually now the groomers next door, but we'll keep it the way it is for,
And well, it's going to take a couple months to get you up and running.
It's going to take
I'm
time.
hoping by Christmas we'll be pretty up there in basic cuts.
Yep.
And then we'll start patterns later. Patterns are. I follow the book.
Yeah.
I follow my book from Melissa.
I have been reading the book, though. You
Yeah.
have seen when in my downtime I've been reading.
And it's the same book that many show dog groomers or show groomers.
It's
have.
a dictionary.
Yep.
It's
they
like an
have it.
encyclopedia.
I'm looking, and sure enough, there's a book somewhere.
It
in this
is.
stuff.
I saw it when we
So-
went to Purina.
So we have credibility in how we get our information. So,
And
but
again,
I'm excited.
This podcast is not a way of making money. Us doing any kind of charity work is not a way of making money. Us doing what we do is not a ploy. It's an entertainment for all of you who are great enough to listen to the show every week. Sorry that we didn't have one last week. I did miss you. And you know what? Thank you yesterday. Thank you to the supporters who sent me messages, saw my post on Facebook, knew that I was upset. Thank you for coming through. I really appreciate it. And, I got a great...
And it's people around the world. That's what's the nifty
Well, I got
part.
the one that I really took to heart was a local person who was here in town. We do a lot with them, and they sent me a message. Did not want to get into the grime
details.
of it, but was just 100% supportive of it. It was just really nice.
Unlikely source, too.
Yeah, I didn't expect it, so I really appreciated it. It really helped. So anyways, are we done?
I think we are.
I think we are. It's a
Until
little
next-
longer, but you missed out last week. So, I'm Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
And I'm Sarah Green. Make sure everybody realizes life is so short. Play with your pet.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go. It's my bedtime.